Okay, welcome back to Slurpathon. We have a hardcore Uprising co-op run coming up, so very exciting. And the winner of the bid war was teal, so that'll be the color. Go ahead.
And what was the secondary color? Do you know? Or we'll just do teal for sure.
Teal's the only one I saw.
Okay,
I didn't know
perfect.
there was a
Okay.
secondary.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, Slurpee will go teal, and I'll pick my color based on what I feel like at that point in time. I'm just going to open up a room here, and we'll get started. So this is Hardcore Uprising. We are going to be playing in Rising mode for a couple of reasons. One is you actually wind up having a bunch of different upgrades that you're able to set up. Where if you kind of grind the game for a little bit, you are able to make it so that you have like fixed weapons and like rapid fire and all sorts of stuff. And you're going to see a lot of really cool tech involved in that. And we're both, even though we're playing a run and gun game, and by the way, the room is up. Even though we're playing a run and gun game, we are going to be doing this where we are playing with swords.
I was gonna say there's very little gun in this run and gun game.
Yes. So yeah, this run and gun, we're gonna have a lot of swordplay action, and because we really want to go quick, the category that we've chosen is the any percent with double Sayuri. It's like the double, like the Wrigley double mint kind of thing, but of run and guns.
It's too powerful for this world, however, and as such is banned.
But there winds up being a lot of really, really cool tech in this run as a result of this, and you're going to be able to see some pretty incredible things that, like, if you've played this game casually, and especially like if you've played it with the gunners, just seeing how long it is that it takes to be able to take out some of the bosses versus what we're going to be doing here, because you get the extra damage upgrades as well as the rapid fire and stuff like that. And you're going to see us using some dashing, using iframes there, and just dashing through a lot of stuff. Like really, really cool tech throughout this.
Yeah, no timer, by the way.
Oh, jeez. Well. Whoa. Yeah, what's...
Too fast, actually. This is why the category had to be banned.
Yeah. Okay, so delayed timer, pretend there's a minute and 30 seconds on top of that. But this game actually uses in-game time anyway, so not as big a deal, but for the sake of the marathon, just pretend there's another minute 30 there.
Just like Bong's run yesterday.
I think because the timer is optional in the actual speed run, my brain is like, no, you don't need to worry about that. One of the other things that's like probably the toughest tech of this game is Slurpee and I keep switching colors when we play this. So some of the times I'm like, oh yeah, I got this, no big deal. And it's like, wait a minute, no, Slurpee has this. I'm just off in the corner bumbling about. And then boom, boss is gone. There's going to be a lot of instances like that where it's like the moment that it is that you see the health bar, you also see the health bar disappear. A majority of the time in this game is spent on stage traversal rather than bosses. There is some really cool important tech in some of these things. We're going to hope that we set up this... Okay, those aren't bad positions. You want to kind of get close to the center, but not completely on the center, because we want to spawn near this enemy to be able to take out its head right away, but not spawn in it, so we just get bonked and it does other goofy things. And then boom, gone.
If we're off time, the boss will go up into the air and not be able to be hit for a while.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like if you spawn after it, like if you go way too far, it actually just doesn't even spawn in the center at all. The game's just like, oh yeah, you know what? You've already passed the first phase, because that first phase is fixed, but for some reason, if you're further ahead, it just thinks that you've already passed that phase, so then it just decides to do whatever it is that it wants, and it can be desirable because it can actually go to the right and you can take it out quicker, but you don't want to bank on that. And now the toughest part of the run. grabbing the helicopter.
Awesome.
Boom.
Way to go.
Now we're golden. When I was grinding this game a lot when it first came out, and it was for an arcade no death run using the gunners. And I remember getting to the end of the game and being super pumped because I had 1cc'd no death run the game. Except for the fact that I missed the final helicopter grab, and then I quit and stopped playing it for years. I was very bitter about that one. I didn't take that one very well.
Yeah, that's
You want
understandable.
to be really careful not to get poisoned, because poison slows you down.
True.
Yeah, and
And
it
confirm.
it slows you down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oof.
We actually want to be really in sync here.
There we go. Even though we got bonked there, we didn't get poisoned, which is like far, far, far more important, because I think you're losing approximately like double digits worth of time on each poison, so getting poisoned is just rough. Plus it lowers your health and you go really slow. Oh no!
Well, poison slows down.
One poison. Okay.
Are there any games where poison doesn't slow you down?
And poison is always agony.
True. Early on in Sekiro's lifespan as a speed game, there was a trick that involved poisoning yourself to skip a section of the game. But even then, the poison still slowed you down.
Yeah,
More of a death warp.
early Sekiro tech was like unreal. Like it still is. But some of the stuff that they patched out is like there's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
sort of like a blessing with it.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed that I started running that game after like snake skip and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was absolute madness.
Mini boss down.
So Slurpee actually found a way to be able to set that up comfortably so we can get that kill like that, where we just hang out on the slightly higher platforms and then jump on it right away. It makes things a lot easier than having to time your triple jump to be able to go through that. That's what I was trying to avoid there, but that's okay. One of the weird things about poison is that even though it will slow you down, it doesn't actually kill you. So that's why you see me with like no health, but still alive.
And here for this boss, we want to actually get in a position where we hear a really good attack sound, because it'll do more damage than.
Yeah. It's a really weird feeling based thing where if you're just in like this nice sweet spot, you hear this like special kind of clanking, so that you do quick kills like that. And it's not as important there, like it's still important, but you should be able to one cycle that boss no matter what. It's going to be really important when we're talking about
There, he does have some immune timing. So.
yeah, and he can just bugger off into like the worst place possible, so you really want to avoid that. The final boss is where it is that we're really going to want to pay attention to that, because as soon as it is that you hear that clank in just the way that it is that you want it to, like then you know that you're in for a real treat, because the final boss has just a ton of health, so any time that you can gain on it is all the better.
Did we mention that Arc System Works made this? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of with the music.
Yeah. Or like the really nice sprite work.
Yeah, for anyone who's like played Guilty Gear or anything like that, there's a reason why this looks so similar and just so stunning.
Oh yeah. So stylish.
So we're gonna be doing little death warp like that. Oh crud! This part was not a part of the strat. That's okay, but we got the climb really well, which is the more important part. There are going to be certain spots where it is that one of us is going to wind up dying while the other winds up going, and then there are certain spots where we will both die at the same time strategically. The ones where we both die at the same time will be pretty obvious as to when it is that we do it, and it winds up skipping some mini bosses. So, okay, there we lined up just a little bit later to be able to get that nice clanky sound to get that kill quicker.
These quick kills are ridiculous.
They are. This is why it is that like I love this category. Whenever it is that I think of, you know, speed running, most of the time go to like, oh yeah, you know what, this would be really cool tech to be able to do, but for the most part I always go to what is the absolute fastest where I'm playing the game. Like it's one thing when you're playing like Ocarina of Time and you see some of those like bizarre really
crazy,
cool
like, long warp.
yeah, exactly. Where it's like it's really really cool, but I don't feel like I'm playing the game when I see stuff like that. So like this is that nice balance where it's like you're still really executing, but at the same time it's like as fast as you can possibly go.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like Super Mario World is like the epitome of that.
Here's the bottle scroller if you have any announcements. Perhaps?
So I'll just say Extra Life is a Children's Miracle Network Hospitals fundraising program that empowers the gaming community to make a difference in the lives of local kids. Participants fundraise year-round, including a 24-hour gaming marathon, an annual gaming tournament in early spring, and a weekend of tabletop gaming. Getting involved is as easy as signing up online at extra-life.org, asking your friends and family to donate, and pledging to play games in support of the Children's Miracle Network Hospital of your choice. You can play from the comfort of your own home, playing any game you want.
So this boss right here, we're going to be kind of doing a little like hopscotch thing where we're going to be trying to stagger when it is that we're taking deboosts so that we can take that boss out quicker. That wasn't too bad. It's really weird to time that, especially since we're like doing comms instead of talking to each other at the same time. So playing the leapfrog, we kind of have to just do it based on like our experience and just sort of the Slurpeeninja intuition. There we go. That was pretty solid.
Oh yeah, Shredster. A lot of people don't know about this game, unfortunately, which is tragic because it's awesome.
Yeah, I've often sung this game's praises wherever it is that's possible because I absolutely adore everything about it. It's a really really cool run and gun, especially like you get the balance of being able to have some moments that are a lot more accessible. Like the inclusion of the rising mode is really nice for both the gunner and the sword character because you're able to just upgrade things, and then like when you get your first machine gun, for example, it could be fully upgraded in the third tier. So there's a lot of
even with rising mode, this game is really hard. Like when we first started doing these runs, I had to actually like borrow lives from ThePhantomire because I was dying so much.
Yeah, we almost got to the point where like we had to use continue at that point in time. Like it's definitely not free.
And then we got to the point where I was dying less somehow.
But it's still it makes things a lot nicer. And the thing is too is that like you get to a point where you unlock not unlimited continues, but like if you use 573 continues, then maybe running guns aren't for you. But yeah, there's a lot that's nice about it. And going into this is like if you choose the arcade mode, it's rough. It's really 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 challenging. But this mode is especially nice, especially with Sayuri, especially double Sayuri, the forbidden category.
The cursed knowledge.
So we're just gonna stay here and slash, and if it runs into us, don't fall.
And I'm just gonna be kick slashing this air, and you get in my way. Don't you eat that pie.
ThePhantomire does make a really good point about this game's accessibility. I remember when it first came out, I picked it up and I was hanging out with some friends who, other than Slurpeeninja, I don't think any of them were people who had much of a familiarity with Contra. And we spent like a weekend just playing this game because everyone was really into it. We had to kind of take turns doing like runs of it.
It's a lot of fun.
Totally.
Yeah, I've definitely played this game. Like back when I was doing the 1cc in arcade mode, I definitely coached a lot of people in the game, and it was really nice to see that like people who might not necessarily been able to clear arcade mode, because it is really difficult. Being able to have that balance there with some of the other characters, especially something like Harley, where he has the extra health when upgraded, so it makes things a little bit nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like, I don't know, like, for anybody who's like looking at getting into speedrunning, one of the things that honestly I swear helps out is when you're looking at a game and you really enjoy it, but also like listening to it is nice. And like I've played this game for apparently like 100 hours according to the tracker. It's just like I never tire of these tunes. Like there would be some of the times when like we'd be sitting here setting up that I would just keep the intro on loop because I love the intro so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but I put in the Konami code before the first stage to have that classic Contra song.
Yeah. It's a really cool remix of the original Contra theme.
Kind of funny that it's the second game in a row where it's a Konami published game of a Konami like IP, but being developed by an external
Yeah.
developer.
It's like we don't want to be involved in our games anymore. This wasn't quite at pachinko time, but you know, they were kind of leading towards pachinko time.
That's true. But if you're gonna get anyone to make your, I mean, we joked about Treasure and Platinum. Definitely put Arc System Works way up there as well, especially these days, or if you want your game to get over.
And to just look and sound stunning.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be not on this first form, but on the second form, we're going to be standing in a really specific spot to be able to take out the second form before it does its big thing. So boom. Okay. That saves, I think we timed it for, like, because it starts throwing girders and stuff like that. I think we timed it to at least 20 seconds it wastes if you miss that quick kill. I think it was actually more than that. It wastes a ton of time, so skipping that cycle is...
This guy, and then you have to like, knock him down, and then he gets back in position. It's a whole lot of stuff that we skipped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 17 seconds.
One of the other things that's really nice about this, and you're going to see the usefulness of it here, is that the Sayuri doesn't lose her weapon or any debuff. Like there are no debuffs or anything like that for dying, whereas the gunners, you lose your weapon and it makes a big difference. Being able to come in here and just be able to slash and take deboosts makes this boss so much nicer. So we're just going to be taking deboost all over the place, hovering inside this boss with basically like no repercussions here.
And we go up opposite sides to kill the boss efficiently.
And then boom, it's gone. So anybody who's played this game before, that's probably not what you're used to. I'm going to take another deboost and slash. Attack the core.
I was gonna say. Well, attack the hardcore.
The hardcore. These next forms aren't as big a deal. We generally kill them before anything winds up happening. The most important one will be this middle one, where we want to take a deboost at a specific spot so that we can... Oopsies. I took it way too early accidentally. That's okay. That's okay. Where it's like if you take a deboost at a specific time, you won't actually see anything from that pattern because you'll be in iframes before it starts spinning, and you'll be able to slash and take it out. But it's a tight window. There's no real like easy visual cue or anything like that. It's very much a feeling based thing. So for both of us to do a feeling based timing thing is like that's a lot to ask.
Okay, but if we do the emboss like really smooth, we can get like a sub 6.
Yeah. When we did practice last week, we just looked at the timer and we were like, there's no way that we did this. That was perfect. There's a certain point, and that's where I think it's interesting, especially doing co-op runs online, is like you really have to get in sync with your partner and just sort of have things where it's like you're not even really communicating with one another. You just sort of get used to like, oh, if this happens, I'm going to be doing this kind of thing, and not have to say it, because you really do have to adjust on the fly a lot.
Try going up here.
I think they might want to sound the alarm.
Sound it, sound it. That was actually really clean. That's probably like the best we've ever done that.
Probably.
So we're gonna be going up some conveyors. This part isn't too bad when we kind of have it down cycled.
You want to throw a sword up there to hit that guy?
Yeah, because otherwise you're just gonna get the bonk. This boss will wind up going down once we get it down to a certain amount of health. Doesn't matter what winds up happening.
Yeah. Lock on the opposite side.
And then we'll take it out just down below here, and then we're going to be getting to one of the probably the most annoying sections, not in terms of the actual difficulty of it, but just kind of getting through it seamlessly, because we kind of have to do these relying on our iframes and our boosts, and also slashing in midair. And so we're going to be doing combining death warps along with
This part is really tough.
especially again in sync. Like when you're doing it in co-op, it's not as single player, it's not as big a deal, but in co-op it's really difficult to time that. But that's like not too bad.
Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't.
Once you get out of cycle, it's kind of just like just deal with it.
Yeah, just, those things, yeah.
That section is really interesting because you have to be careful as to when it like you can't be slashing down or anything like that, because it'll start exploding those containers and you can't maintain a constant run through out there. So it gets really, really scary. So we're going to be doing a tiny escort mission.
The little escort mission as a treat.
Because you know how much, people love escort missions in video games. So let's toss it in a run and gun. And the initial section that we actually started with, you can actually do it in stealth, like completely stealth based. It's really difficult to do and takes forever. So there's no reason to do that. In the actual, like if you're doing arcade, you might want to do it just because taking down the doors takes forever versus just doing it the stealth way. But we have super extreme.
Right after I do.
Oh, geez, too bad.
Yeah. I accidentally double jumped. That's my bad.
It was funny because when we were first playing this game, like basically the first time it is that we fought this boss, we wound up getting this like perfect quick double kill, which is really tight to do, and replicating it has been like near impossible. In theory, we understand how to do it, but executing it is an entirely different thing. So there's,
You almost got it there.
yeah, if I had just done a slightly lower second double jump, it would have been fine, but the timing is super tight there. It's really, really rough. There is randomness that you have to deal with, as well as the execution. But that wasn't too bad a recovery.
Okay, now I got a mess.
Look at you.
S for Slurpeeninja.
Are there any announcements or anything?
Yeah, because we're on auto-scroller time. Big time auto-scroller.
Yeah, so reminder that there are still lots of incentives and bid wars open for tomorrow's runs, including the Mega Man 9 race at 9 a.m. Eastern, in case you want to get your bids in tonight so you don't have to put them in early in the morning.
And I need to figure out where it is that I'm going to be putting my incentive. I know my first one wound up being a Sekiro incentive. I wanted to see that other ending.
It's a little bit more complicated than just setting up because the arms can die at the exact same time, so if you're slashing at like different areas of the boss or something, it messes it up too. There's some weird factors to it.
Yeah. Definitely. Luckily, there's some of the things in terms of like us syncing to be able to deal with like certain bosses and stuff like that. There gets to be a point where there are sort of like visual cues and things that we can do to be able to make things predictable. We'll see that in stage 7.
There's like 3.
Oh,
Welcome later.
welcome to the Slurpathon. Slurpathon 8.
So an interesting thing with this stage, even like we're killing enemies as soon as we can. A part of it is because some of the enemies will actually wind up lagging the screen. But interestingly, like one of the, like if you're going, like if you're an achievement or trophy hunter kind of thing, there is a pacifist accomplishment in the game. And so this section actually winds up being completely fixed. It doesn't matter how many enemies you kill. It doesn't change the speed at which the level goes. The only thing that actually really dictates your time is how well you execute the final 2 bosses. Other than that, all of this stuff is going to be on a fixed cycle, so actually going quick is really more of just like a slight lag reduction thing, and it's more so for the enemies that explode.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Definitely don't want to get on.
So that's why you see me, like with the enemies that are about to explode, you see me hovering right above them, because if they launch their shrapnel, it causes a ton of lag in certain instances. And so like say that part having the train exploding on top of the enemy exploding, it will slow things down actually a fairly substantial amount for a modern game.
Modern is saying like Xbox 360 era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given how retro I still am in a lot of ways, like I'll play some modern games, but for the most, like I still don't think the PS5 exists. I don't know that anybody can actually get them. I think it's a myth. So this boss, I actually don't remember what it does, because regardless of what route it is that you're at, if you don't have maxed out weapons, you may as well be resetting if you're doing a speed run. And it's been a while since I've done a non-speed run in this game, so I actually don't know what that boss does, because when you're the gunner, you use the heat gun to be able to just take them out before they start, and as Double C, you're doing that. So, if you ask me what it does, I don't know. It's gone.
It's stuff.
And
does
it's gone.
Yeah, it's fine. I feel like coverage is pretty important all the times. Okay.
So we're going to be setting up in a particular position here, where we're kneeling to be able to avoid a shot, as well as doing a ton of damage.
It picks the bottom trains up. Perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. So we got the quick kill there.
Goes to, like so many different forms that you can't hit them in.
Yeah. And like really just like some big jerk energy when you start getting trains thrown at you. Like he just gets really cranky. So this is where we're hopefully going to be able to sync up a nice quick kill here. It's pretty tight, but we'll see what we can do.
The other side of the train. This is myself fighting.
Yeah, myself being on top here, like I'm pretty well in the position to be able to do the quick kill. There are turrets on both sides of this boss, and there are 2 forms to it, and you'll see the different ways it is that us being separated makes these things a lot easier. It's okay. And so now we're going to want to be at a specific height at the top of the train here. if you go too high, you will jump off, but we want to be a specific height so that we can maintain constant damage like that. And you probably heard me or saw me releasing slashes during the middle of that. You can, if you're quick about it, you can actually pretty well maintain a constant rapid slash as well as releasing those charge shots at the same time, which it does add up slightly. And the only reason that you really do it here as opposed to some of the other bosses is because it has the 2 separate hitboxes. If you do it, like say on the last boss, all you're doing is losing time, not constantly slashing it. But that one, because you get to hit it twice, you get a little extra boost there. Subtle tech. And
There's
then
a lot more to the run than you'd think.
yeah, it winds up being one of those things like what Slurpee said before is like, even though there's a lot of conveniences and a lot of things that are safe about this when you're playing in a rising mode with a max character, there's still stuff that can go very wrong very quickly. And particularly in these last 2 stages, like things can get really rough. They're not easy, especially in co-op.
It also really epitomizes like it's hard, like you make it look easy when you're good at it type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look as difficult as it really is.
Yeah, there's certain games where it's like, say Slurpee just finishing Gradius. It's as difficult as it looks and then some, whereas a lot of this, it looks like it is easier than it actually is.
Mm-hmm. Especially just...
So weird thing that I found just recently is that for whatever reason, if you jump off screen and slash the enemies up top, you can actually screen wrap and hit the enemies on the bottom. It's completely useless, but you can do it. I just like throwing that fun fact out there. It does nothing. It doesn't speed you up, but you can do it. And sometimes, you just got to do that abusing the tech flex.
No, you just think it's neat.
Yeah, exactly. Like a potato.
Exactly.
$20. I wanted a peanut.
$20 can buy many peanuts.
Wait, explain how.
Currency can be exchanged for goods and services.
I remember I joined in on a stream, like somebody doing a Link to the Past randomizer, and they got 20 rupees, and they're like, oh, 20 rupees, I wanted more. And then I said 20 rupees can buy many peanuts, and then I found out they weren't a Simpsons fan, and I was devastated because there's like, I just look ridiculous now, and nobody's here to admire my amazing joke. And you know what? I'm crushed.
Years later, we're here for you. We're here appreciating it in retrospect.
7.
We have to die at the same time, pretty much.
4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, so those deaths were deliberate because what winds up happening is there's a check in place that there will be a helicopter mini boss that will spawn once you get to X position. But if you wind up dying, you spawn up higher for whatever reason, and because we skipped that check, we were able to skip both those mini bosses, which aren't too difficult to take out, but depending on your jumps, it can be really difficult to be able to make sure that you actually time the slashes correctly and everything like that, and then get back to the wall. So if you can just, yeah. If you can skip bosses, like, why would you not?
Many bosses.
Oops.
Many bosses.
So there's a really weird thing where you can kind of play around with the camera there and start sliding into that that door before you're even supposed to, before you can even see it, but it's a really tight window. So we're going to abuse our very many lives and iframes when we're doing the jumps just to be able to basically death warp our way to victory there. We have enough lives to be able to do it. They have the conveniences of Rising mode over arcade mode. That's why, like, with speedrunning this game, like, there's always that balance of, like, what do I want to be able to achieve in a run? And some of the times, just, like, you don't have to go for the hardest stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Because arcade mode is really, really, really difficult. So it's like, unless you're in for like a pretty substantial grind, I usually don't recommend it. Whereas this, like, you can feel pretty good about yourself going through this mode. Okay, so we kind of gotten sandwiched here, and there's not really a nice way to recover this. So instead, I'm just going to hug behind Leviathan here. That's okay. Dude.
Pretty good. It's a good time.
That was not good. Especially since I killed our platform. No big deal. And I forgot that I'm pink, not teal. See, you know, one of the hardest texts in the speedrun is to know which character you are. So we use like the cracks on the ground as a visual cue to make sure that we know where to stop there, because otherwise there's no real cue to know when to stop and not run into Leviathan. And if you're running and you hit an enemy, you actually take more damage than if you just do it when you're walking or stationary. So
Really?
yeah, so running into enemies is actually really annoying. So
definitely.
there's your fun fact. In a Rising mode, you don't notice that as much, but you really notice it in arcade mode because you have so little health. So it's something that you really want to pay attention to. With certain characters, you only have 2 health, so that's why you'll die instantly as opposed to just bonking off of them.
Makes sense.
It's a little bit slow on the fight, but it's okay.
He didn't land, which is good. Like, we basically got him right before he landed, so that's not too bad. But ideally, you want to kind of take him down when he's about like halfway in the air.
Running up the unnecessarily long slope.
Yeah. We do have increased running speed. So this versus arcade mode, like that, if anybody's played this game, remembers that being an absolutely agonizing slow climb. It's about half the time, I think even more than that, for Rising mode. So in comes tentacle monster thing. We're just gonna stand here. Oh, hearing the clanking. There we go. So bye-bye, tentacle monster. We hardly knew ye.
Yeah, that position was good.
I've always found it interesting how Sayuri's like, oh, I've grown tired of killing, despite, I don't know, the whole game. It's like, you obviously seem to be quite content with it, actually.
If nothing else, she's good at it.
Yeah. Very good at it. I've always laughed at run and gun games whenever it is that it's like, okay, they've taken out this entire army, they've killed all of these things. Let's throw some grunts at them. Like, I feel bad for them.
Number 9,150.
Yeah. And it's like, who signed up for that job? How much are they paying these people? Like, they can't possibly be paying them enough. Like, this dude beside the crate, I'm just like, you know, I'm just big chilling. Oh, boom, getting run over. Like, and like, at least the other ones were slashing them, were taking them out. Where that one, it's just like, they're just probably really injured and very uncomfortable right now. So we see this fixed pattern twice here. Laser, kill a few enemies, and then some missiles, and then laser. And then the true horror of this stage begins. It's really difficult to sync all of this, so we'll do the best that we can. But if there's deaths, there's deaths. It's just how it is. But there will be speed on top of that.
we get a 47?
No, we actually beat. Wait, I don't know. I have a really bad habit of deleting the wrong videos in splits. So I don't know what our actual PB is. I think it's like a low 37.
Oh, that should be hard. Just check SRC. Oh no. Too powerful for this world.
For reasons,
And it doesn't help that I deleted my account after that. So one of the things that's really rough about this, oopsies. So hopefully I'm gonna death warp ahead. Oh, I'm gonna death warp ahead maybe. Boom. Okay, so this spot's really awkward here. If you die in the electricity when this is down, oh no, I died on the wrong one. Okay, we're just gonna have to wait for this. No big deal. If you die in the furthest right one, you can have it where you just warp to the next section and can skip a part of the cycle. Oh. Grabbing where you don't want to grab is definitely a thing in this game. Okay, that wasn't too bad. The middle section was kind of rough, but that was actually a pretty clean end to that before we go to this very, very annoying boss. We're going to do something to make it a lot easier, but it's easy to make a mistake on, so we'll see what winds up happening. I don't like my health going into this. I'm normally used to coming in full health because I normally die a lot on the middle climb section.
These lines, because if we're over them, they fall off the edge. Ooh, so I hit the boss.
Uh-oh. Get off of there. See, again, accidental grabs are a thing. So we're going to be destroying all of these but the last one. We got to climb up to the ceiling first, and then we'll destroy the final one. And then you will see why. Let's see if we can get this quick kill. It's really tough. Close. So you can see how quick that boss winds up getting. If you're on the bottom, you have to deal with that, and swapping directions, even in co-op, with the rapid fire, it actually moves so quick that your rapid slash can actually miss hitting it, even if it is that you're going back to backs constantly slashing.
We've gotten really close to that quick kill, but we've never gotten it actually. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, in co-op mode, you have all of the bosses have increased health. So lining some of the things up like that. Certain bosses are a lot easier in co-op, but that's probably the most notable one in terms of making it far more difficult in co-op mode. That's the sound we want to hear. Boom. And we're going to hope to hear the same sound on the next form. That boss is just agony if you don't do that. Bouncing all around and he's just yelling at you to go to hell. Like on repeat. Like it's just ingrained in my mind when I was grinding this game and I can't stand it. So not hearing it is incredible.
Bosses with an appropriate amount of like voice lines for their, the length of the fight is a pretty important thing. I feel like people who played Sonic Adventure know what I'm talking about.
Definitely growing tired of killing
in stereo.
Yeah. Can't even just have the luxury of overlapping the voices. No, gotta really rub that in. So we're hoping to be able to kill this boss on the left side. But it's really, really tight. Likely what's going to wind up happening is we'll take down most of its health bar, and then it'll come to the center, and we'll take it out.
Likely we'll destroy a platform that we're supposed to stand by.
That's happened a lot. So this part is like, it's sort of similar to, it's like a 90-degree version of the one fight in Contra 3 where you're floating on missiles, but instead you're floating on debris and going vertical as opposed to horizontal. This is just pure agony on arcade mode because we don't have the extra jumps in arcade mode, so being able to do this in... Not too bad.
Reminds you a lot of the end boss from Muramasa, the Demon Blade, if you ever played that.
Yes, I actually did the that hardest mode where you die in one hit.
Sure, yeah.
Which I know that there's a lot of conveniences about that make it like, it's technically still a no damage run, but at the same time you have buffers and barriers and stuff like that to be able to help with that. But yeah, such a cool game. Other than that very confusing Tanuki boss.
Oh, yeah.
How does an helicopter go out?
Come to me, helicopter, so we can end. And see an incredible outro.
4337 is what it looks.
Live spit isn't working, so you know. Oh, there we go. There we go. That was a thing.
3825. That's actually really good.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Like I said, I think our PB is like a low 37, so 3825. Given everything that happened, I'll take that.
Not half bad.
And then you guys see the ending.
It's an incredible ending because it's Arc Sys, so like,
Yeah.
that's just how it works. But yeah, that's Hardcore Uprising. If you haven't played it, buy it, do the thing. Definitely encourage you to check it out.
Great. Yeah. Really good.
And they do have a Discord where there are some runners in this game. Mostly one of the more recent runners, Anti-Aaron, runs this game a ton and is always like really, really excited to help people out. So, you know, you're in good hands if you decide to run this game.
Been in chat, actually, explaining stuff.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I don't have chat open because I've already messed up enough trying to be able to get my thing set up again that I didn't want to open up Twitch and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, now your PS3 won't work anymore.
PS3 machine broke. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Related troubles.
You already had enough PS troubles.
Yeah.
The PS trouble.
Again, I love my PS3, and there's a lot of great exclusive games, especially like the first Shadow of the Colossus remaster. Like one of my that is my favorite game ever. So there's a lot of reasons to love it, but also the PS3 is just like a steaming pile of garbage. So
It's not a good console.
there's so many like technical behind the scenes things that make it like an absolutely deplorable console with their like protections and stuff like that. Like anybody who's tried to stream off a PS3 knows the pain.
Physical pain.
Yeah, it brings real true pain.
It's a good console in spite of itself.
Yeah. But that gen was like that. Like, I mean, how many people who played the 360 went through like, oh yeah, I'm on my 7th one.
Oh yeah. That was part of what made that generation so wild, is that it was like the 360 had this amazing lineup of games and a lot of really nice features, and the machine was incredibly unreliable. And then the PS3 was PS3.
Yeah. A little bit more reliable in certain ways, but woof. It was a rough generation. Especially when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, it's $700, and you're like, get bent.
Yeah.
Right. $599 US.
Yeah.
There's that enemy crab.
Yeah. Hey, when do we get backwards compatibility? Well, here's the neat thing: you don't.
But with that amount of money, you can buy many peanuts.
Wait, explain how.
So yeah, that's Hardcore Uprising. Really cool game. Definitely, if you haven't checked it out, seriously check it out.
It's a lot of fun. It's good. Oh, thanks, Evan. There were some hiccups and stuff, but yeah. It's that whole syncing up and
Yeah.
and doing it all. And like I always say, if we could meet in person and do this run, it'd be like way more insane.
Yeah, it'd be a very different run, especially like in a setting like this where like I'm impressed that we actually got that mid 38 there because we're doing comms and you know, making instance references and stuff like that where like normally there'd be instances where it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna be doing this, you do this now kind of thing. Like we would actually be verbally making those.
Doesn't go with the connection properly, and then the other person just dies from it, even though it was supposed to be dead, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a very interesting online experience. So it'll be one of those things where, like, who knows, maybe, you know, future in-person Slurpathon thing might make the trip. I mean, traveling to the US is, like, not going to happen. So the idea of, like, a GDQ thing, I really, really doubt. But traveling throughout Canada, it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can swing this.
Yeah.
Maybe Slurpathon next year. We'll see how things are.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. I think that's it for Slurpathon today, though.
We're at the end of the program. I think Starlin should get the host versus the raid. He's been pushing the partner, and like he's doing a run today, later today.
Awesome.
He's fighting Mania for us, which is gonna be awesome. He's got an arcade cab.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the schedule. That is gonna be hype.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do because I don't want to miss that. I guess I probably just have to like take some knockout pills to go to sleep because didn't they say the Mega Man race is at like 6 a.m. here or like 7 a.m. here?
Yeah, we'll be back in the morning for Mega Man race starting at 9 a.m. Eastern again. Same as today.
Oh, that's what I want my incentive to go towards. I want to see Proto.
You don't have to worry about that. Proto's winning by like $150.
Well, fine. Let's put in Omega.
Yeah, do it. I wanna see Mega.
Mega. Let's do it. Mega.
Nice.
Awesome.
Oh, but
I mixed up in my mind which one was winning and which one wasn't. I wanted to try and like balance the tables there.
thanks all for enjoying day 3 of Slurpathon, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more.
All right. See you then.